Hey there, my name is Raptorwack, and this has kind of just been something that's been on my mind a little bit. And that would be, how do we keep the chuds out of our tabletop gaming spaces? Because I've been in this community for about 10 or so years, and it's kind of a repeated pattern I keep noticing where we get people that just come into the gaming space, they misconstrue things about the media that we enjoy, and then they take that as permission to just do whatever they want. As for in regards to, like, you see this a lot with like Black Templar players where they see the Iron Cross symbolism and then they just run with it, and they go, hey, the Imperium is like a fascist regime. I guess people are cool with that here. I'm gonna go be a Nazi now. And then they just do that. And I mean, we get it with the Black Templars, we get it with the Death Corps of Krieg. I've seen that personally, where I knew a guy way back in the day before I knew who he really was, who was a Death Corps of Krieg player, who just painted them like Nazis and treated them like Nazis because he was a Nazi. It was kind of an eye-opening moment for me, and I've kind of been thinking about it ever since. But that's all rambly in the start of the video. But what do I mean by Chud? I mean, we get the original cannibalistic humanoid underground dweller from the movie Chud from the 1980s, but it's been adapted more nowadays to be just a catch-all term for assholes, shitheads, bigots that we see and we want to keep out of our spaces because they make it a worse place to be in for everybody who's not them. It's gatekeeping, yeah, but it's positive gatekeeping. Sometimes you have to do that to, I mean, shit, that's why we have bouncers. Same reason. You don't want some belligerent drunk shithead, like, being a shithead, so kick him out. But personally, I've got a lot of friends who are in, like, minority groups who would be in personal danger should we let these people proliferate in our spaces. And it also comes from a personal thing, not just for my friends, but also myself, where I kind of knew or grew to know who I am because of tabletop spaces and who was there to kind of instruct me on what being in a tabletop space is. But this is all to say, we kind of just need to keep these spaces that have come to accept us and be core parts of who we are and who we become over time. We need to keep those spaces safe for people, not just us, but for the people we care about. And there's a few, like, in a historical background way, there's a few reasons why we have to keep such a tight, like, watch on this space specifically. Because there's a lot of times in tabletop gaming history that aren't the brightest spots. So, for example, like, even D&D, one of the things that's been the biggest, like, influence on this hobby, it had kind of, like, racist undertones, especially with races being abjectly evil due to their birth and what race they are, and you don't even really need to explain like how bad that can be. Like, orcs for the longest time and even still today are, like, for lack of an eloquent way to put it, just the black people race. And I'm a huge orc guy. I play orcs in 40k. I always have loved orcs. I like my warrior races. I love my Krogan. Like, I'm so into that. But a lot of the time, the orcs have been used as a stand-in for the savage race, the savages, the whether that be Native American, whether it be black, whether it be certain Asian cultures. Like, they are often used as the bad guy stand-in when you want to portray a race, but you don't want to be overtly racist. And that stems from D&D, and it kind of even stems from Tolkien. But Tolkien, that's not his intention, but it's kind of been proven at this point that fascists and their ilk love to co-opt this fiction because it's Lord of the Rings is legendary and it's an incredible piece of work, but it is also a very black and white good and evil story where one is a slavering horde of savages and the other is the group of pure people coming together to fight them off, and they love to co-opt that for their own purposes because they don't value art, they just value what art can do for them. And that's kind of what we deal with in the modern day with TTRPG spaces. I mean, look at what they do with Warhammer 40k a lot of the time. They almost entirely ignore fantasy because fantasy doesn't have the evil space fascist empire that they can worship and treat as the good guys because they hate alien and want to kill alien. And it sucks. It really does just suck because it's a very valuable part of my life being in this community, and to see it twisted and taken out of context and taken at 100% face value where, oh, this evil fascist space empire is the human, so therefore they are good guy, and it just like kills me inside because one, you either are being malicious, or two, you're being deliberately stupid to try to make your own point in real life, and it just doesn't work. It's a whole fucking thing. But what do we exactly do to keep people like this out of our spaces? Well, I've asked my local game stores, and the prevailing sense seems to be to make sure you let it be known that anybody is welcome, which seems a little bit counterintuitive, right? Because how do you communicate that everybody but this? But it really is just, if you make sure that you let your community know that everybody's welcome, that naturally pushes away the people that don't accept everybody. Because if the people in your space are all like, they're either queer or they're black, or you have a lot of women, or just a diverse space in general, that naturally pushes away these chud types because they're allergic to people who are different than them. They just can't handle it. They don't understand how other people work, and they refuse to understand how other people work. And it just gets to a point where they just avoid you naturally. But it's also a constant thing where you have to continually let it be known, because if you let the cracks open just wide enough, they will sneak right in. They love doing it. I've seen it happen. They find that one little crack where, oh, it's like an edgy joke here, or a slight difference of opinion there, until eventually they start bringing in their friends, and then the general chat becomes all edgy jokes, and eventually you start seeing like the Wojaks and shit that are just racial caricatures from like 80 plus years ago, and they're just updated to the modern day. And then your community's gone right out from under you. They just steal your community. They steal whatever they can because that's what they do. That's just, they can't ever create anything of their own because they aren't creative enough to do it. They aren't charismatic enough to do it. They just don't ever make their own things. They only ever steal. And then they go on to make a bunch of racist jokes that about other people that it turns out they are doing all the things they think somebody else is doing just because of the way they were born. And it's the most ironic thing ever, and they have a zero self-awareness, but it's just how it goes. And I kind of want to end on why it's so important to do this. I've kind of touched on that a little bit at the start of the video. But to me, the biggest thing is these are spaces for outcasts. Which, yeah, the chuds and the Nazis and the fascists, they are technically outcasts. But they're outcast because they are willingly outcast. They thrive on being the bad guy. They love being told to fuck off because then it justifies everything in their head. I'm right because people don't like what I'm saying, and if they try to censor me, that means the words I'm saying are correct. And it's just confirmation bias repeatedly because they think being censored is the ultimate, like, correct. I'm correct because they're trying to tell me no. And it's really just a microcosm of the entire, like, who they are as a person. Can't take no for an answer. And if they have to, they pretend it's somehow a mark on the person that's telling them to fuck off, but instead of what they're doing to be told to fuck off. But it's important to keep these spaces for the outcasts, because where else do we have to go? We have always been the third wheel on the outside of whatever group we're in, and this is the one where we aren't the third wheel. This is the one where we're the leader, we're the guy or the girl or the person that everyone goes to for this thing. You become good at painting, and everyone goes to you to understand how to paint this specific way. You transitioned, and this is a new space for you to become who you now are, and everyone is. They know how it feels to be put out by other people, even people close to you, and they can accept you for who you are without question, and you can just have fun being yourself for the first time. And it just such an important space because it's not about politics. It shouldn't be, at least. It's not about where you came from. It's not about who you were before. It's just about, hey, do you want to play a fun game? Do you want to make friends while doing it? Do you want to improve your artistic skills? Do you want to improve your writing? Do you want to do all of these different things? Here is a group that cares about what you can make and how you can make it. And to me, that's what the TTRPG community is, and what it should be, and what it should be idealized as. Not a space in which you just molder and let the worst parts of yourself show through your little dudes, where you paint your historically based on the French Krieg, paint them gray, fucking do a Siggy Heil whenever you get a good roll, and then everyone hates you, and you go home and you snicker to yourself like, I'm the smartest one here because I know what these guys are and what they're saying to me. They're telling me I'm right. But no, it's, to me, that is what this scene is. It's unabashed creativity. It's unabashed personal connection where you're not looking at the superficiality of other people. You are getting to know them. You are coming back week after week to play their army, to see what they're doing now with their painting, see how they've improved over the past year, organize competitions for new guys just to get people into this game that you love so much and show the world, even just in such a small way, that we can get together and we can still have fun playing a game. Just sitting down or standing up a lot of the time for wargaming, but you know what I mean. And just having fun with a group of friends. And I just want to keep the TTRPG space simple, like that. Just, we're here to have fun. We're not here to discriminate. We're not here to do any of that bullshit. We're just here to have fun playing a game. But yeah, that's the long and short of it. Thank you for watching. This has been Raptorwhack. I'm not gonna tell you to do any of the engagement bullshit. This is kind of more of a hobby thing for me anyway. But yeah, thank you for watching if you did. Appreciate it.